Okay, today's daf is Yoma Lamed Daled, Yoma 34. On Lamed Daled and Beis, the Gemara brings from the Mishnah, Mayakon Gadol Zaken O Istanis. They would throw something into the mikvah to make it warmer, so it shouldn't be so cold. They would heat up some rods of iron, and they would throw it into the mikvah in order to make it hotter on Yom Kippur. The Gemara says, "V'alom etzarif." Aren't you strengthening the iron and your chayav for Shabbos is either makabah patish or mavashal? Amar Avibi shelo hagia letziruf. We're talking about it didn't reach siruf. He says it's mutter because it's a davar she'eino miskavein. So the Gemara says, "Miyamar Abaye hachi." The Abaye really hold davar she'eino miskavein is mutter. But Tanya basar la. So afilu makom sheisham beheres yikot tzibur Reisha. If you have tzaras in the makom of your milah, you're allowed to do the milah anyway. Avinan ba kra lamali. Why do you need a pasuk? Amar Abaye. The Rabbi Yehuda, the Amar Davar, meaning it should be mutter. Amar Abaye, the Rabbi Yehuda, the Amar Davar she'eino miskavein aser. Because if it's Davar she'eino miskavein is mutter, so then when you're doing the milah, it's a Davar she'eino miskavein. You're doing it for the mitzvah of milah. You're not intending to cut off the baheres. So it's Davar she'eino miskavein. You're not miskavein for the iser of cutting off the tzaras. The Abaye says it's even according to Yehuda, that says Davar she'eino miskavein is aser. So the Gemara has a problem. Abaye just said Davar she'eino miskavein is mutter, and the Gemara in Shabbos, it's quoted over here, he's trying to answer for Reisha. He says that Davar she'eino miskavein is aser. So what is he saying? How do you resolve that? So the Gemara says Hani mila b'chol Torah kula aval hacha siruf d'Rabbanan. That's talking about the whole Torah. Here, siruf d'Rabbanan. What does this mean exactly? So first of all, there's a couple of questions here. So the Gemara in Shabbos, the Gemara has this shachvetari, and then the Gemara says, how could Abaye say that Davar she'eino miskavein is aser? Really, the Gemara says that's a Psik Reisha. It's a Psik Reisha. When you cut off the R line, it has tzaras there. That's a Psik Reisha. Psik Reisha is where it's definitely going to happen. You do something and it's definitely going to happen. We'll discuss what's different in Davar she'eino miskavein and Psik Reisha in a second. But the Gemara says that's called a Psik Reisha and it's mutter. So you don't have to say Davar she'eino miskavein is aser. According to Yehuda, it says that Davar she'eino miskavein is aser. And the Gemara Maskana, you're right. Nachanami, originally Abaye didn't hear from Rava that this thing of Psik Reisha that everyone's mode of Psik Reisha is aser. Even Reb Shimon's mode of Psik Reisha is aser. And then when he heard it, he agreed with Rava that Psik Reisha is aser. Davar she'eino miskavein is machlokes Yehuda and Reb Shimon, but Psik Reisha, according to everybody, is aser. So why does the Gemara not bring that over here? Why is the Gemara asking? Abaye says, according to Yehuda, Davar she'eino miskavein is aser. It's not a Davar she'eino miskavein. The Maskana in the Gemara in Shabbos, it's a Psik Reisha. It's not Davar she'eino miskavein. That should be the chilek over here. And second of all, Rashi says the way Tosas understands Rashi is that what's the answer of the Gemara? Hani immediately b'chol Torah kula by milah and mitzvah milah. Al-hacha siruf d'Rabbanan. Milah is a dindo rice. But here it's talking about the Rabbanan. Why? Because the siruf is not it's not a shaila whether it's actually mavashal or makabah patish on the deraisa level. It's only the Rabbanan. They ain't shvus with mikdash, and since we're in the mikdash, so therefore they weren't goes there and they're allowed to do it l'chachila. So the problem is it doesn't say ain't shvus with mikdash. According to Rashi, it should say that. And third of all, why is the Gemara bringing a question on Abaye when he answers according to Rabbi Yehuda? We know the halacha is like Reb Shimon, really, that Davar she'eino miskavein is mutter, right? It's machlokes over there, and Rabbi Yoshia and Rabbi Yonasan. Where do you know that you're allowed to do milah when there's saras? Yoshia says you know it from a pasuk, and Rabbi Yonasan says you know it from a kal v'chomer. Why is the Gemara proving? Why is Abaye talking about Rabbi Yehuda trying to answer for Rabbi Yoshia and being mokim Rabbi Yoshia according to Rabbi Yehuda? Just say like Rabbi Shimon, but say like Rabbi Yonasan. Why does it have the answer for Rabbi Yoshia? To answer all these questions, I want to say I want to offer a new explanation of this answer in the Gemara. Siruf, the word siruf over here does not mean siruf as in hardening the iron. Siruf means it could also mean a combination or a joining together. Siruf derabanan, not din derabanan, siruf of the rabbanan. That's exactly what the Gemara is answering, like the Maskana of the Gemara in Shabbos. That the Maskana of the Gemara in Shabbos, Abaye and Rava were at siruf derabanan, were joined together. Rabbanan joined together at the end, and they agreed that when you cut off Baheres and you cut off Orla, so that's a Psik Reisha. Why is that a Psik Reisha? What's the difference between Davar Miskavein and Psik Reisha? Davar Miskavein, the Gemara says over here, when you throw in the iron into the water and it starts to cook or starts to do makav patish, it's reversible. You can take it out and it's possible to stop the process. Psik Reisha v'lo Yoma, when you cut off a chicken's head, it's for sure going to die. It's irreversible. You can't take it back. Same thing when you cut off the saras, when you cut off the orla and has saras on it, it's irreversible. You already cut it off. So that's a psik reisha. That's what the Gemara is saying. How do you mean the Torah kula? There, the Gemara is saying, when Abaye said, according to Rabbi Yehuda, who says Davar Miskavein is Aser, and he was answering Rabbi Yoshia, that was the Havamina of the Gemara in Shabbos. But before Abaye knew a Rava's halacha of the psik reisha v'lo yamas. And that's what the Gemara is saying. How do you mean the Torah kula? When we're doing the shakli of the Gemara, we're going according to Tanaim, like we said in yesterday's shir, that when it comes to machlokes tanoim, those are opinions in the Torah, and each Tana can have their own opinion. And the Rabbanan Basrai, the later poskim have to figure out who the halacha is like. They're both valid opinions. We have to decide. Torah was given to us. Elu dirakim chayim. They're both valid opinions, but we have to decide. The Rabbanan Basrai have to decide who the right halacha is in every generation. So that's what I'm saying. Torah kula. That was the havamina of the Gemara in Shabbos. That we're trying to answer for Rabbi Yoshia and we're trying to answer for Rabbi Yehuda, even though the halacha probably when the maskana of the Gemara in Shabbos and other places that the halacha is not like Rabbi Yehuda. We try to answer for Rabbi Yehuda, and Torah kula. The general way of doing it in the Torah kula is to do it is to answer for all the Tanoim in the Shakli of the Gemara. But hachas of the Rabbanan here, once we have the maskana of the Gemara in Shabbos, Rabbi and Rava, Abaye learned from Rava about din of psik reisha. So then, now we can make that chiluk between our case in Yoma over here is talking about a davar she'eino miskavein because it's reversible, and the Gemara and the Gemara of Orla is talking about a psik reisha, and therefore it's for sure going to be. So in that case, that would resolve all the difficulties.